They said, some men don't just walk into a room. They take control of it. And Alexander Vance was the kind of man people feared before they even knew his name. The restaurant was full of life. Soft laughter, quiet conversations, the sound of cutlery. But then he walked in, and everything changed. Not completely, just enough for people to notice. Because when power enters a room, silence follows. Alexander Vance, a billionaire, a man who built empires and broke anyone who stood in his way. No one looked directly at him. No one wanted his attention. He took his seat like the place already belonged to him. Service. One word. Cold. Direct. A waitress stepped forward. Good evening, sir. What would you like to order? He didn't bother looking up. Bring me your best steak. Medium rare. A pause. And don't mess it up. Of course, sir. For a moment, everything felt normal. Until it wasn't. The food arrived. He cut into it. Once. Twice. Then his expression changed. This is overcooked. The room fell silent. I'm really sorry, sir. I can replace it immediately. I don't want apologies. The sharp sound echoed. I want competence. People turned. No one spoke. Because when he was angry, someone always paid for it. What's your name? A brief pause. Ava. Well, Ava. His voice dropped. You just cost yourself your job. Sir, please. Manager. Within seconds. Yes, Mr. Vance. What seems to be the problem? This girl. A short pause. Incompetent. I want her fired. Immediately. Everything stopped. She didn't move. Didn't speak. But inside, something shifted. Because life had never been fair to her. But this moment felt different. She looked at him, not as a customer, but as someone she couldn't look away from. Some people lose everything and still don't make a sound. Not because they're strong, but because they've learned. No one is coming to save them. That night, Ava walked out of the restaurant with nothing. No job, no explanation, just silence. The cold air hit her face. Sharp, unforgiving. But she didn't cry, because she had learned that long ago. Tears don't fix anything. Life had never been easy for her. Not once. She grew up watching her mother fight every single day. Working, struggling, surviving. Alone. And one question always remained unanswered. Who is my father? Every time she asked, the same response. A quiet smile. A tired voice. Some people are better left in the past. But the past never really disappears. It waits, quietly, until the right moment to come back. Ava had seen him once. Just once. A photograph. A man in a suit. Confident. Powerful. Distant. And before she could even ask anything, it was gone. Hidden. Like a secret that was never meant to be found. But she never forgot his face. Not even for a second. And tonight, something felt wrong. Sitting in that restaurant. Hearing that voice, feeling that presence, it felt familiar. She slowed down, her thoughts racing. No, a whisper under her breath. It can't be, but deep inside, she wasn't so sure anymore. Scene shift, colder tone, contrast. Across the city, in a world far away from hers, Alexander Vance sat alone, high above everything, untouched, unbothered, a glass in his hand, silence around him. To him, tonight meant nothing. Just another mistake. Another employee. Another forgettable moment. Ava was no one. Or at least, that's what he told himself. But something didn't sit right. Her face. Her eyes. There was something there. Something he couldn't explain. And it stayed with him. For the first time in years. His mind refused to rest. The night grew deeper. The silence grew louder. And Alexander Vance couldn't sleep. Ending. Slow, suspenseful hook. Because sometimes, the past doesn't knock. It walks back into your life and looks you straight in the eyes. Some truths don't just change your life. They destroy everything you thought you knew. The next day, Ava stood at the door of the only place that had ever felt like home. I lost my job. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Her mother looked up instantly. Worried. What happened? Ava hesitated for a moment, then said it. A customer complained. A pause. A billionaire. Alexander Vance. And in that moment, everything changed. Her mother froze. Completely still. The cup in her hand began to tremble. What did you say? Her voice barely a whisper. Alexander Vance. Silence filled the room. Heavy, uncomfortable, different. Slowly, her mother sat down. And then, something Ava had never seen before. Tears. Not small tears. Not hidden ones. Real. Painful. Uncontrollable. There's something. Her voice shook. I should have told you a long time ago. Ava's heartbeat quickened. Louder. Faster. Something wasn't right. Your father. A pause. A breath. Her voice broke. Is Alexander Vance. Everything stopped. The air. The sound. Time itself. Ava blinked, then let out a small, nervous laugh. That's not funny. I'm not joking. And just like that, the truth hit. Hard. The man who fired me. Her voice cracked. Is my father? Her mother nodded. Tears falling freely now. Years of silence. Secrets. Pain. All breaking apart. In a single moment. Ava didn't move. Her hands slowly clenched. Tighter. Stronger. All her life, she had struggled. All her life, she had wondered who he was, where he was, why he left. And now, she had her answer. Not a hero, not a mystery, but a man who looked her in the eyes and destroyed her life without even knowing who she was. Ending, cold, powerful, revenge tone building. And for the first time, the silence inside Ava began to turn into something else. Something dangerous. Some moments you don't prepare for. You feel them coming. And still, they hit harder than you imagined. That night, Ava didn't sleep. Not even for a second. Because once you know the truth, there's no going back. By morning, she had made a decision. She wasn't going to run. She wasn't going to stay silent. She was going to face him. Not as a waitress, but as his daughter. Scene shift, powerful build. She stood in front of his world. Tall glass towers stretching into the sky. Cold, untouchable, just like him. She walked inside. No hesitation. No fear. I need to see Alexander Vance. Do you have an appointment? No. Then you can't. Tell him. A slight pause. It's about his past. Silence. A look exchanged. Something shifted. And just like that, everything changed. Minutes later, she was inside. Scene, office tension. The door closed behind her. He stood by the window, back turned, looking over the city like he owned it. You have 5 minutes. Cold, controlled, uninterested. Ava took a breath. Slow, steady. Do you remember? A pause. A woman named Elena? Everything stopped. His body stiffened. Slowly, he turned around. How do you know that name? For the first time, there was something in his voice. Not anger, not control. Something else. Because her voice trembled, but didn't break. She's my mother. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. And you? She stepped forward. Closer. Closer. Eyes locked on his. Are my father? The room changed. The air felt heavier. And for the first time, he really looked at her. Not as a stranger. Not as a mistake. But as something he couldn't ignore. The resemblance. The eyes. The truth. It hit him. All at once. No. A step back. That's not possible. It is. She reached in her bag and pulled it out. An old photograph. A piece of the past he thought was gone forever. Now, standing right in front of him. Alive. Breathing. Looking back at him. And in that moment, everything he built, everything he controlled, meant nothing. Because for the first time in years, Alexander Vance had no words. And Ava was just getting started. Some people spend their whole lives chasing everything, only to realize they lost the one thing that truly mattered. Days passed, but for Alexander Vance, time didn't move forward. It stayed stuck on one moment, one truth. He couldn't focus. Meetings were canceled. Deals fell apart. Because for the first time in his life, money couldn't fix this. And that terrified him. Memory tone, regret building. He remembered everything. Elena. The love he walked away from. The child he never knew. In the moment, he looked into his daughter's eyes and broke her. Scene shift, softer, grounded. Days later, he found her, not in a luxury place, not surrounded by wealth, but in a small cafe, working, quietly, starting over, like she always had. He walked toward her, slowly, carefully, Ava. She looked up. No fear. No respect. Just truth. I came to apologize. Silence. I didn't know. That doesn't change what you did. Her words. Sharp. Clean. Unavoidable. I spent my whole life without you. A pause. And when I finally met you, her voice trembled. You tried to destroy me. The words didn't echo in the room. They echoed inside him. Alexander lowered his head. A man feared by millions stood there, unable to face one girl. I can't undo the past. His voice was quieter now. But I want to make it right. Ava looked at him. Not for a second. Not quickly. But long enough to see the truth. And still, it wasn't enough. I don't need your money. A pause. I needed a father. Silence. Heavy. Final. And in that moment, he understood everything. Success made him powerful, but also made him empty. And now, for the first time in his life, he had earned something. Not fear, not control, but forgiveness. Ending hook. Slow, emotional, lingering. Ava didn't walk away that day, but she didn't forgive him either. Because some wounds don't heal instantly, and some relationships have to be built from nothing.